itself.
Yo, 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 yo. Can you hear me? Can you
I
hear
can
me?
hear you.
All
I
right.
can hear you.
Oh, okay. You got the new John. The,
Listen,
you got
it's
the I welcome to.
well, I got the Janet Jackson on right now. Shit, yo, honestly, I've been going through hell with my mics. Listen, so I had to figure some cheap shit out because the Bluetooth doesn't work anymore. So I got to figure out some other replacement. And I got this. Hey, if it works, it works. It was like $18, so like fuck it, it works. So let's rock with this for now until I can get a official mic. I don't got the gold like you.
Listen, man, we gonna get there because we're gonna get our custom made official RWP. And when y'all see us with that shit, nigga, y'all gonna see us with that shit because it's gonna cost as much as it's gonna need to cost for y'all to see it with that shit. You know what I'm
For
saying?
real,
But
man.
now that we here, man, y'all know what it is. I the most high, my tag team partner, CT, aka HD Bang. We are Reasonable Wrestling, the underground professional wrestling podcast. Tell them where they can find us, Chini.
You can find us on RW Podcast One on Twitter. You can find us here on YouTube at Reasonable Wrestling Podcast, such as Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. Please, yo, shout out to all our subscribers. Shout out to all you guys who support, like, and view the videos. If you want to
Yes,
share us, I would
yes,
appreciate that. If you like our
yes.
content, please do. But shout out to you guys. You guys are our day ones. I still claim you. You hop on today, you're still a day one. But completely shout out to you guys for supporting us, and we do got a Patreon. It's $5 a month for some extra
That's
content. And if you guys want to support us there as well, there's some really crazy, unedited, unfiltered conversations that me and Chris have.
yeah, yeah.
And our last one was all over the place, and it was it
It's
was.
super all
I
over
don't
the
even
place.
want to. I don't even want to talk about it. But you can go check it out. It's five
Now
dollars.
we gotta give him a little snippet. I asked them, well, we had the conversation. Okay, first and foremost, had the conversation about women. Okay, and I just want to listen. The dynamic between men and women is what it is. It is what it is, and we understand that it's trying to change at the same time as well. But what we ended up talking about was like, we don't know the dynamic between Vince and Linda. You know what I'm saying? Like, and go check out the episode to see.
Yeah, it's crazy. Unfiltered, unedited, uncut, completely reckless conversation like we do because we're boys. Locker room talk, whatever you want to call
Locker
it.
room talk,
But
yeah.
we love the comments. You guys continue to comment, continue to show love, and have conversations with wrestling. We just want to continue to, have that discourse. So thank you. But yeah, we're here to get into the week that was with professional wrestling.
I want to also pause on that, and I want to talk about one of the things that we can talk about on the pod now because it's everything is wrestling. EIWshop.com. Make sure y'all check that out. That's where you can get merch and you can get the Drink Roller Ayatollah rolling papers. This
Indeed.
is going to be one of my least high shows. Okay. I don't have any carts. I ran out of actually I just haven't went to the dispensary to pick up. So that's what it is. And then, I'm in the house, so can't blow down in the crib. And it's like 97 degrees
Oh, it's
out.
hot.
Yeah, y'all
Yeah.
niggas will see me literally melt like last week on the show. But one thing we talked about on the Patreon episode that became a little bit mainstream was Chris Benoit, right? So
True.
we talked about and we had the conversation prior. We had the conversation off the original conversation that Jordan Grace had. We didn't have the conversation off the reaction. We had the conversation on her initial emotions behind her personal feelings behind the actions of Chris Benoit.
Her unsolicited take on Chris Benoit out of the fucking blue that no one asked for. Yeah, we had it on that.
Okay, so when we ended up, we didn't spend a lot of time on that portion of it, but what we did try to have the conversation to elevate and push the conversation forward was like, okay, despite your personal your personal reservations for the situation. In generality, do we care about the undertone of the action? It was mental health, right? The thing that is documented fact, both things can be true. Chris Benoit just carried out a despicable act towards his family and upon himself.
That is not debatable. Yes,
that is completely not debatable. What also is not debatable is his mind state in making that action. Now, he didn't just. All I'm saying is the scientific data said that he had whatever the latest stage of dementia was. I was making generalities of saying like 89, but I don't want to say stage 4 because I don't want to combine it to, but whatever the latest stage of dementia was of his mind, that was not due to the actions upon himself because he didn't do nothing to his brain. He didn't take himself out with a gunshot to the head or none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was able to get examined and they said that nigga wasn't right. So when we looking at situations like that, and yes, the crime is the crime, the wrong is the wrong. That is not debatable. But what we can actually have empathy upon is
mental health. Yeah,
exactly.
of the guy in hand. And I hear you on that. And we have more of this talk on the pod. On the Patreon, if you guys want to check it out. But the only thing I would say is, and not to give it any like out for Chris Benoit because clearly it was premeditated, clearly it was planned. He killed his wife and then waited a day and killed his son. Like it was so. Yes, mental health, but at the same time, there was some sentience there. It wasn't like a spur of the moment snap, and he shot somebody. No, it was he thought this out. He actually wrote in his diary or whatever his So it's a thing where it's very touchy subject.
The manifesto really kind of like
solidifies, that he had a conscious brain with what he did in his act, and that's the only thing I would say about it. But at the end of the day, was he a great wrestler? Absolutely. Can he compete with the wrestlers today? Yes, I think so, absolutely. But does he need to be talked about? Do we got to go through this every single year with Chris Benoit and like say, "Who? What side of the coin are you on?" We don't need to do this anymore. Two things can be true. He could be a great wrestler, and he could be a scumbag parent and husband who did a horrendous act.
And that is, but I don't want to debate that. I do want to put, if we are going to have the conversation, can we progress it, right? And if we're going to do that, we can't always talk about the positivities of the advocacy of mental health, right? We have to sometimes, right? The collective bargaining agreement does not want to try and get Deshaun Watson his money when he gets suspended, but on the other side of legality, right? We talk about morality and legality, right? On the other side of that, that is what they're for.
That's their job, yeah. You can't.
You know what I'm saying? This is not our job to defend him, but what I'm saying is, if our job is to be empathetic human beings,
of course, right? So, I think on the podcast we can talk about whatever we want and however we want to talk about it. If you want to come on here and say, you know what, I'm all for Chris Benoit and what he did, go for it. I'm not, I'm not gonna hold you back. But I'm saying hypothetically. But like my thing is that we got a job here to do as well. Didn't that just be two podcasters telling their takes on what they see? I personally feel like the Chris Benoit story has been beat down to like it's just beating a dead horse at this point. And is it always going to be controversial? Probably, absolutely, because we can't expect. It was so sudden, and we never saw this. No one saw this coming. That's the thing. No one saw it coming.
Well, speaking of controversial and things that we could have saw coming, Vince McMahon, right? We're talking about synonymous with like controversy, right? Is Vince McMahon synonymous with controversy? Like, how can, and when we talk, I'm just, again, not comparing, not talking about morality police. I do not want to be that. But what I'm saying is that when Vince McMahon is also despised and right? Just displayed as a horrible human being. You know,
to some people he is, yeah.
Some people, but they also be able to be like, yeah, we go down and make our money during Mania weekend.
I don't know. I don't like. I think that people are. We talk about people being hypocrites, and I think that everybody has been a hypocrite. Like no one is completely 100% altruistic. And I think that everybody deserves that grace. Is Vince controversial? Yes. Can somebody still say, you know what, I love WrestleMania? Yes. And still see that he's a sometimes controversial figure who they don't necessarily agree with all the time. So I look at it like this: when it comes to controversy, have your take, but stand on it. However, it was just shocking to me last week with the Chris Benoit story that it blew up so much, because it's like,
Yeah, yeah,
we've been here before, guys. Like,
yeah.
and she apologized. So let's speak that. Jordan Grace did apologize, and she is going to be donating money to mental health foundation. So shout out to her for being accountable, because a lot of times people are not accountable for what they say online, and they just act as if it didn't happen. So she has more credit from me than a lot of people that I've seen.
And also, like you say, growth, right? Because
Yes, having grace.
with that being said, with
No pun
that,
intended, but have grace for Jordan Grace. Yeah.
but with and that's another thing too that is kind of despicable in nature of how we, right? Because as two men, right, it's very hard for us to, like you say, we toe a line of how it is we converse about women and their feelings and their interactions with other men, because online can be very, very like cruel. You know what I'm saying? Like Shotzi got, ran off. You know what I'm saying? Outside of wrestling, a whole weird ass nigga created a profile of a black girl to see how many men like, and like bro, it's crazy out here for women, dog. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
niggas don't motherfucking, we don't help. We don't help at all. You know what I'm
What the
saying?
fuck are we gonna do? Like, I feel like I know it's gonna sound wrong, but what the hell am I gonna do about a guy making a black woman profile? Like, I can't do nothing about that shit. I'm sorry. Like let's be real. I mean,
Yeah.
other ways, like I can help the black woman in my life on a regular basis, like in my real life, yes, and I do. I have many black women friends that I support, whether it be financially or just being emotional ear. But I think that when it comes to support black women, and that's what I do. I do it in real life, like not as a hashtag. I think we get caught up in that kind of Twitter universe and think that that's real life.
Yo,
Twitter is not real life.
that online Instagram either, nigga. None of that shit is real life,
Yeah.
man. It's very hard to, and unfortunately too, you know what I'm saying? With that being said, it's very difficult to separate the two, right? Especially when we talk about um the realism that is, like, a lot of people like, oh man, turn your phone off. It don't matter. That shit don't matter. Man, that shit affects people,
But I
dog.
respect Shotzi for doing that. When she got to a point, she realized, hey, you know what, this is not good for my mental health right now. Let me delete this shit, like for at least for a little bit, like really deactivate it, and do it. We've seen Nia Jax do it in the past. We've seen other people do it in the past. Take your time for yourself and do what's necessary for your mental health. Now, I mean, after the show, I mentioned that Shotzi had a rough night of Money in the Bank, but no one's perfect. We've all seen people do botches. She's not the first person to do it. I don't think this should be like heckled for weeks on end. That's ridiculous. I think people should be mature and just grow the fuck up. And I'm not sure if these are teenagers doing this shit. I'm not
These
sure if
grown
they're grown ass men.
It's grown
Or,
ass men.
it's just ridiculous at this
Well,
point. Like,
you know,
get a life.
you know what? Also, too, is, and what's frustrating is, like, you just have grace, right? But at some point in time, like, you just be like, all right, man, I see what this is. You know what I mean? Like, and at that point in time, like, you lose all types of like respect in that manner. You know what I mean? But and that ties into like the Benoit and the Vince McMahon, and when you do so much, like, again, wrestling fans don't have the equity right now to be like, get the benefit of the doubt of shit. You know what I mean? Like, and when you talk about people who have done such wrongdoings, right? They don't get the benefit of the doubt. But man, that nigga Vince, he seems invincible. Can I say that? Can I make
Yeah,
a like that?
you can honestly, um, but he's the Teflon Don, and like in people with money and power, him, Donald Trump, uh, what's the guy from the Washington Commanders, what's his name,
Daniel
Daniel
Snyder.
Snyder.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like no matter what the fuck these guys who are rich guys do, they can't get checked. It has to be something like Harvey Weinstein, or it has to be like Epstein levels of like disgust that they finally get checked. And there's nothing gonna happen to Vince. Like we said it last week, we said it on the pod, we said it on Patreon. Nothing's gonna happen because if you keep it real, like and I think Chris Jericho said also, is like what he did is not illegal, which is true. But we can have a court of public opinion conversation about it. In fact, that your business relationship should not be mixed with coitus and like sexual relationships. It shouldn't. You keep it separate, and if you do, you shouldn't be demoting people or changing their pay because they're not having sex with you. Like that's like, come on, we all know this. Like, and if that's what's happening, there should be a lawsuit, and he should suffer consequences. Now, this consequence he did face is that it's public, and people look at him a certain way now, and that and certain people are like the ended documentary from Netflix. Like those are the consequences he had. But as far as there being any like financial or legal ramifications, I don't expect that to be the case for Vince. I think at least that's where I come from, where I see. I didn't even think that he was going to drop down as CEO until like a week after. I was like, oh shit, that happened. So, yeah, he is kind of Teflon.
Now, when we talk about what we can do and how we can do it, and in the manner of making our presence more available, you know what I'm saying, and substantial, when we talk about what it is that we're able to, what we want to convey as people, you know what I'm saying. I do think that I love how we've tried to transition ourselves into making real strides. So just this past week, when we talk about how do we, like you said, what can we do to make an impact and to show some type of elevation and uplifting and type of fucking support, whatever the case may be. So we just wanted to show love to Black Girl Magik. That's going to be happening August 19th, I believe. Let me go ahead and that's not what I wanted to do.
So show it, man. Show it.
I think that is it's very important that we give the time, the space, the creativity, and the ability for growth. And again, we talk about showing grace to people. Extend your grace by allowing these wonderful women to put on a fantastic event. So do what you can to support. We will not be in attendance for the show, but our sponsorship has granted us access for tickets. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go ahead and try to raffle those tickets off. So
please do leave a comment, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, and DM us that you are interested, or leave a comment that you're interested in this raffle, and we'll put your name together and we'll see if we can give it out to one of our listeners. It will be in Brooklyn. I want to get the exact location and date so that we can provide it to you guys, but I'm looking it up now. Just give me some time.
Yeah, August 19th. And what's crazy is August 19th is Black Girl Magik, and then Jobber Tears is having their annual, or seems like to be their monthly, because they do a watch party every time something jump off. So shout out to Jobber Tears podcast.
Shout out to Jobber Tears and Legends Bar in New York City. That shit's like that.
My man Chidi was like, dog. So back-to-back nights, man. If you're in New York and you're looking for, a good time that involves wrestling, and you just want to blow some steam off, listen, support Black Girl Magik, and also pull up to Legends Bar and holla at Jobber's Tears. Tell her that Reasonable Wrestling sent you. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Now, August doesn't look like it has a WWE pay-per-view, but July had two, nigga.
Okay, and by the way, it's gonna be in Brooklyn on 185 Ellery Street. We'll post it in the description along with the link to support them and buy a ticket, as well as the fundraiser as well. But go ahead.
Yeah. We'll put the address and everything in the description box, and we'll keep. It's about a month out, so we got 3 shows until then. So you'll see it for the next 3 shows. Also, we cannot not talk about supporting things and not talk about the wrestling club, right? the wrestling club has been doing tremendous strides to get those kids to WrestleMania, man. So we also will have the link in our bio or not in our bio, but link in our description box for that too, man. So we got we're supporting the kids with wrestling, we're supporting the women with wrestling. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Everything is wrestling.
Everything is wrestling, and this is how you show the real growth of the community of pro wrestling and supporting it from the ground up. But yeah, shout out to the wrestling club. Shout out to Black Girl Magic Pro Wrestling. Yeah, listen, I support all of the movement, man. I'm happy to see the culture continue to grow, and from the youth to the woman getting shown some love, man. I love it all. Honestly, it's inspiring. Honestly,
it is. It's hella inspiring, and it also make like okay, what we doing, isn't necessary. I mean, it's not silly, right? Because people really, people make their living off of this. You know what I'm saying? So it's not silly shit, but entertainment. You dig? Like in the grand scheme of things, like we're commentators on entertainment, but the impact that this entertainment has on life, happiness, enjoyment, something to strive, live, pull you out of a rut, like it's crazy how entertainment can do that. And it's important that we continue to, like you say, every time you see something that you don't like or you see something that deserves more prominence or more or higher pedestal, we'll do our job to elevate that. You know what I'm saying?
for sure. We're gonna do our due diligence support. Now, when it comes down to the week that was, let's get into the week that was with professional wrestling. Where do you want to start?
Well, I'll start first and foremost, since we heavy talking about how much we love our entertainment, how much our entertainment is impacted, how narcissistic we are, that we think that our impact has anything on entertainment. But guess what? Chidi? You have been saying for the longest.
It does.
I don't give a fuck about SummerSlam and Brock and Roman unless they give me some type of blood.
I don't care.
The newest news that came in right before we recorded today. I mean, we get news every time. Yeah. Right before we got on the motherfucking cameras, we got word that WWE Monday Night Raw is back to TV-14.
Yeah, man. This is a little bit of business logic, a little bit creative. I love it. You know me. I told you, Brock and Roman don't mean shit unless there's blood. Last man standing my fucking ass. We've seen it 10 years of regular schmegular last man standing matches where Big Show gets a forklift put on him, or John Cena gets his legs tied, or Batista gets his legs tied. Well, all this bullshit. Listen, you put this nigga down for 10, and for that to happen, there should be some chaos. There should be some destruction. There should be some blood.
Some blood.
One blood.
Hold on.
You gotta drop it, dog.
Hold on. Hold on, nigga. Hold on. Yo, Trey.
TV-14 back.
Nigga.
I'm the doctor.
Right, before we get banned, strike.
Before we get motherfucking nigga. How long we play that song?
I don't even know, man. Maybe on our ass, dog. For real. Be 3 seconds. Like, all right, this video's taken down. Damn, YouTube.
Bro, it's from you.
You guys have it up there. You guys realize that, right? But this is cool, and I don't mean to make it a competition thing between AEW and WWE, but I do think that they're having an influence on their product. And this wouldn't happen if AEW wasn't so successful with having blood on their TV and people just being okay with it. I think that USA saw it. I think that TNT obviously is cool with it. I think WWE is like, oh, can we push the boundaries a little bit? And they're like, let's do it. And I'm telling you, I'm not watching SummerSlam unless I feel like they are going to give me what I want. Give me what I want. Listen, when it comes to pro wrestling. Blood is always blading has been a part of it for ages, you know. And I'm not saying that you should always have it. With AEW, the John Moxley, listen, I love you to death, man. Like honestly, I think that AEW wouldn't be a thing without John Moxley. I think he's one of the most primary reasons why AEW has survived in its infancy stage. So him being champion, I love it. But you don't need a blade every fucking match. It just takes a little bit of specialness from when you have your matches, in my opinion, when you do it every single time. But as for a match with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, and TV-14 coming back this week on Raw, listen, let's get it. Let's get it. I'm so for it. Hopefully there's we don't need to see bra and panties matches and all that, but hopefully there's a little bit more risk taken with promos and interactions on screen because it has been stale for a while now. It's time.
I think that's what matters the most. I think what matters the most is that they'll be able to have more dialogue. I think because it is hard. Man, listen. It's hard to motherfucking get ready for a fight in the PG era. Man. Like, what are we talking? Like,
I respect John Cena because he was able to get to the levels he was during this era, talking like he was a Barney character.
Cena got okay.
I mean, to be honest, yeah, he did at first.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. At first, Cena went there. Cena wasn't always.
And Cena was, and the reason why he was able to make the code switch was because he had already went there.
Okay, but Roman never had that opportunity. He still got to his heights.
And he ain't seen the heights, let's be honest, dog.
I think that what he's doing right now with the Tribal Chief is the best run he's had in his career, obviously.
It's the best run he's had, but it still ain't. It
ain't Cena, it ain't Stone Cold, it ain't Rock. I feel you. My nephew was telling me the same thing. He's like, he's not compared to other top of the company guys. And you know what? There's an argument to be made that he's not. However, I think for what the hand he was giving, he played it very nicely when he changed the heel and became the Tribal Chief. Like that's
even with that though. I mean, listen. Calling somebody a bitch or a punk ass bitch or a mark ass bitch or whatever. Like, I mean, Roman has pushed the lines, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think
but not quite. I think he was doing stuff for Succotash too, because that happened.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's the point that I'm making, nigga.
Okay, go ahead.
That's the point that I'm making, nigga. He was never that good because he never had to be able to get that. Like, you play competitive sports and shit like that, man. He comes from talking shit and getting it out and and a nigga gonna tell you doing it in front of kids. How you gonna do your job? You don't do it as well. You don't. And Roman didn't get to do it as well. So like, yes, right now, but it took him a long time to find out. And then also he had to switch because as a baby face with Cena, he still had the ability to get his bars off because his chops is different. And I think right now we talk about writers, right? We talk about a lot about creative. Man, ain't no way in the world I'm a 32-year-old, you 33, or we talking about 40-year-old something people, you know what I'm saying, writing and handing it to niggas that's in their early 20s, talking about you gotta talk like this because of the age demographic. Niggas been on Twitter and Instagram all day letting bitches and niggas and fucks fly and shit like that.
Even the kids are calling them bitches and niggas and fucks. They're like, I gotta eat this shit.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah, I think it matters. I think it matters.
Did you see the promo where like Roman called Seth Rollins nigga?
I don't think he called him a nigga, but he was like, yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean, like, bro, like Roman got that dog in him, and they ain't let him out the kennel. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, we gotta let the big dog off the leash completely. I think that TV-14. I'm not sure how much of a difference it's gonna make for Roman, but I think that some of the newer acts, some of the NXT guys, will be able to just to say, hey, you got freedom. All right, you can't these words you couldn't say before, you can say them.
George Carlin words that you cannot say on television.
Go for it. Let it fly. Give us a hell yeah. Give
Well,
us a, you know, you can have,
first Colin can say the one that you can't say for real. You know what I'm saying?
they can probably talk about weed up front. They can probably talk about, you know, beer up front. You know, like they can probably do all that stuff now. I'm not sure how far they'll push it, but
Well, I think okay. So just in retrospect, bro, just like we just look at it at face value, TV-14 means that you can make television that is accessible for
teenagers.
And it's not for people under this age. PG is a public generality of shit. Like this is a tent for everyone. TV-14 is now a tent, and you gotta show.
It's a demographic. It's a target market,
exactly.
And I'm curious to see how their WWE shop commercials go. I'm curious to see how the commercials for everything they do now, is it going to pivot? Is it still going to be like, all right, the 24/7 championship is a complete kids title? You know, I don't know if they're going to, because they're going to still have comedic angles. But if you look at the 90s, those comedic angles were not the same as the comedic angles they do now.
But I think this opens the door for a lot of intergender conversation now. This opens the door for a lot of mixed tag match. Like this opens the door to a lot of, like you say, just even blading, because in the PG again, if Universal is knowing that they're getting a television product that is made for children with the PG, somebody bleeds and then somebody complains, they have to respect the guidelines under which they are under. Yeah. Now, if somebody comes to you like, "Hey, there's blood," ma'am, this is TV-14. Take your kids to bed, bitch.
Period said. Listen, man, I love it. Obviously, I want a more mature product. I don't know. They should make it TV-20. I don't give a fuck. Like, TV 34. Shit. You know, I make this shit Game of Thrones, dog.
This nigga said make it TVMA, nigga. Just fucking move everything to Peacock, nigga.
Listen, just make it for me.
No, listen, listen. If you want to talk about business and logic, right? What if WWE says, "All right, we moving everything to TVMA, TV mature, and you gotta have, Peacock to come get this what if they put their censorship behind the paywall?
That would be ill. Give me the writer's book, please.
Nigga.
Sign me up. Give me the pen.
Shit
give me the pen. I got y'all. You want sophisticated writing? You want some mature writing?
No. I'm not gonna forget that. No, nigga.
You want
bring
what?
back bra and panties matches, nigga. Is what I'm trying to say.
Tits and ass
I'll
TNA.
pay $10, nigga. What the fuck you talking about? I already
You're
paying
for
now.
the TNA, man. Listen, this ain't Girls Gone Wild. Shit.
I didn't say that, bro. I'm just saying, like, somebody might want to just. What if somebody is like, I don't know. What if it's a real life backstage? Like, bitch, my body better than yours. Okay, prove it. Maybe. I'll see you on Wednesday night. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that would be ill. And then they have a Raw match. All right, Carmelo, let's go.
Tailor made for you.
Listen,
but what if WWE find out that they women doing fucking OnlyFans and do make a TVMA because they need the bag? Yeah, you can. Yo, what if they find out that they women is making fucking Carmella? Okay.
Yo, you gotta re-sign Tony Storm.
Selena, okay.
But she's getting her bag on her own. But yeah, honestly, I don't even know what wrestling TMA would look like. But that would be crazy.
Come on, shit, that's right there, nigga. Just
hey man, hit all demographics. Equality, inclusion.
Yo, you can have your PG for your kids. You can have your TV-14 for your mature audience, and you have your TVMA for your nasty niggas. Nah, it ain't gonna be nasty. With that ass, it could be like the barbed wire shit like that. It could be blood fused and shit like that.
For real.
You know
you can get all types of stuff,
or Roman beating a nigga ass and get to say motherfucker.
Yo, Edge speared Mick Foley through a table. Mick Foley had a great match with Randy Orton. He was bleeding like crazy, bloody mask, and I think those matches, for me at least, took them to the next level as far as main event talent.
Sure.
to
For
give him that
sure.
little bit of a badass edge.
For sure.
And maybe we'll be able to see that now if Edge could have one of those matches with an Austin Theory, you know, and he's bleeding like crazy. Austin Theory was like, oh, this guy's actually a badass. You know, he's taking selfies, but he can also get down in that ring.
If that nigga Austin Theory take a selfie with a bloody face, he'll
Oh my God, he's over from that point. He's gone. He's gone.
Yeah. Come on, it's legendary.
Yeah. That'll be a legendary. That'll be a legendary photo. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that'll be fire. That'll be fire. Yeah. See, with no pin, nigga, we freestyled that.
Freestyle that, dog.
No pin. No pin. All right. Moving on. So since we talking about the week that was, let's talk about yesterday. All right. Let me drop the bombs. Let me drop the bomb. Oh, you spelled it wrong. Thank you.
Yeah, for real. There you go. Oh, come on. You're so close.
On. So close.
You're
man.
So close, James. Come on.
So close, man.
So you dropping the bombs?
I'm dropping the bombs because we got new AEW Tag Team Champions. Shout out to Swerve and My Glory.
Shout out to our niggas.
Come on. Hold on, my niggers. With the ER. You dig me?
New AEW World Tag Team Champions.
For Mr. James Sullivan over here.
Gotta let them racist. Good old racist. Listen, Swerve in our glory. New AEW Tag. Listen, you said that you didn't want the Young Bucks winning this match.
Told you.
And I said to you, it's gonna be a good match no matter what. And it was. It was the best match of the night. But did the right black team win?
No.
And I listen. I love Swerve. You know, we love Keith Lee. But when I see these two guys, I see Swerve as a bona fide heel. And I see Keith Lee as a bona fide baby face.
You saw the little tinges in the match.
Even in the match, there was like they're teasing a turn. So I'm like, all right, it was kind of awkward. There was this week of wrestling, I'll be honest with you, there are so many awkward moments that I'm like, why? On every show, I'm like, wait, why did they make that choice right now? You know, and this is one of them. Congratulations to them. This is their first tag team titles in AEW. Yep. But I wonder where it's gonna go, because I think FTR is next up, but we still got our boys Ricky Starks and Will Hobbs, you know, around the corner, who I think deserve that run, because I think they have chemistry as a tag team. They've been in AEW for since the beginning, for like early on, you know, and until now. They've had fake titles such as the FTW Championship in Team Taz. I want them to get some real gold.
I think for the most part, man, that match banged. Okay, that match was. I actually thought that the finish was a little bit like, you know, I don't know, man. I thought I just anticipated the finish being a little bit different, brother. I thought that if Swerving and Keith was going to win, I needed Keith to kind of get the pin so Swerve could be jealous, so we can have the, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's kind of would have been something that I was looking forward to if that was going to be it. Especially when Swerve had that little inkling, I would just the psychology of it would have just had Keith get the win, tag it, you know, get the W, and the first person to get his hands raised is Keith, and Swerve come in or snatch the belt, you know what I'm saying, and look at Keith a little bit and then embrace him. Like, I think that would have been
ill. I think, you know, that's would have been dope. I you know, I think that I know that Keith Lee had something with his family. We don't know what happened. There was an emergency. I'm not sure if that played into them making this choice, but you know, I agree, Mike. Powerhouse and Starks is the answer for the belts one day. I absolutely agree with that. They are the next tag team that I see having I think that AEW creating a tag team like Powerhouse and the Starks, or Hobbs and Starks, or whatever you want to call it. Powerhouse.
I guess I am still high.
I know, right? But they are an AEW original tag team, and we've seen the Young Bucks have the title. FTR, we've seen Jungle Express, who are another AEW original tag team. They're one that I think can hold the title for a long time. and have interesting feuds, not only in the ring, but on the mic. I think those two guys can go. So I'm curious to see where this goes. Shout out, congratulations, obviously, to Swerve and Keith Lee, but Swerve and Our Glory, I think, is like two single stars compared together like they do in WWE, which that's just how I see them as. But I'm not sure if over time they'll grow on me.
We talked about that too also. And shout out to Mike being interactive right now. Do you think it's time with the belt short? Yeah, I think this. Okay. If AEW does what they do very well, right? They build up a really dope babyface. I cannot lie. Jurassic Express with Jungle Boy, Adam Hangman coming back. He's built up. Dog. Starks and Hobbs are babies, nigga. Like, I don't care what nobody say, dog. So I think right now, like, even as and I won't even say they're building up a babyface, but they do really good at building up their young talent, right? Because I do believe that the established talent helps, but I think for the most part, man, the young talent that they had just really needed exposure, right? So we look at a Starks who was on YouTube with NWA. I'm not sure what Hobbs came from, but I do know that that this wasn't their first job at AEW, right? Like they've been around for some time. They just needed the exposure to get to where they're at right now.
Yeah, and I want to be clear. Like when I say AEW original team, I'm not saying that they've never wrestled.
Yeah.
I'm saying that these guys are
AEW
a tag team. Yeah. Now you could call Swerve and Our Glory an original tag team. Let me just tell you my perspective. My perspective is these guys are two single stars put together. The vibe I get from these guys is that Swerve is great as a heel. He was great as a heel in NXT, and he can be great as a heel in AEW. I wish we got to see Hit Row on SmackDown. I thought that could have been great, man. But we never got that chance. I think that Swerve needs to be in the TNT Championship conversation, along with Keith Lee, honestly, separately. But with them being a tag team champions, I'm going to support it. I'm going to watch it and see where it goes. But this choice was definitely questionable, put it that way.
I will say this. If they didn't want to do the split now, I get it. Because, again, I said Hobbs and Starks needed an all-out moment, like an all-in moment like that, right? So I can understand them not having that title change or their moment then, but building the little cracks between Swerve and Keith over time, because it hasn't been like no real beef, right? It's just been like homies having miscommunication sometimes.
Exactly.
Sometimes that lingers a little bit, you know what I'm saying? You just like, all right, nigga, all right. But like, it ain't been no real like fractions within
nothing serious. Yeah, he eliminated him from the Battle Royal. There's been a little bit of friction here and there.
And honestly, like, dog, if it's only a bag to go get, and we are amongst the people to go get it, I would need you to go get the bag. You see what I'm saying? Like, so I can understand why Keith can have some resentment. Like, damn, they could have been me and you at the end. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think it's sort of like the opportunity was right now, right? It was like right now. So I don't know when I'm gonna get your big ass over, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, you talking about finishing the match together and then get your big ass over, nigga? Fuck no, I'll do that now, nigga. You know so
I'll handle them later.
Mm-hmm. So, but if we're gonna do an impromptu Booking Black right now, because we need a drop for that, bro. We need a Booking Black drop. You know?
For sure we do. We gotta figure that one out for sure.
But I think for the impromptu Booking Black, I think you have them hold the titles. I think you have them hold the titles for a short amount of time. I do think it's a short reign. I do. I think it's a short reign. I think Hobbs and Starks feud with Swerve and Keith matters more to the win of Starks and Hobbs. I had to collect myself for a minute, okay? I think in the grand scheme of it all, Hobbs and Starks taking the title off of Swerve and Keith Lee, who have been at it for a while. Like, that is an actual factual feud that didn't have actual factual stakes. Right now, there are stakes available to make that feud really go. So Stocks and Hobbs have been coming out doing the thing on the mic, really putting some steam, really putting some rocket fuel on that. So the win over Swerve and Keith matters a lot more than them getting the win. And Swerve pinned Starks. So like, nah, dog. Like, you know what I'm saying? We gotta get that back in blood. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, absolutely. I think that Starks has to get his revenge. The Young Bucks obviously have an out because they didn't get pinned, lose the championships. But right around the corner, you got also FTR, who are they're crazy over right now. So we're in a space right now. Top guys, man.
Did I complain about this tag team division a while ago? And Tony Stark said, "God, bitch ass nigga."
He lines you right up, bro, for real. But no, they kill it with me. I never really had a problem with it for a while. I think that Jurassic Express was a good tag team. They had some really good matches with Red Dragon and Young Bucks, and obviously with Starks and Swerve in Our Glory, Starks and Hobbs and Swerve in Our Glory. But now here we are, Swerve in Our Glory tag team champions. Do they drop it to FTR? Do they drop it to Starks and Hobbs? If you really want Starks and Hobbs to be baby faces one day, I say drop it to FTR. Give it to FTR right now. Let them get their run. Have Starks and Hobbs keep building their contention, and then when they finally get the titles, it's a big deal, and they can beat one of the best tag teams in the business in FTR.
It's hard for me to say that because I think the validity behind Starks and Hobbs is contingent on them getting access to the gold now. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you,
man. I appreciate that, man. Damn, that's fire.
Thank you, appreciate you.
That's a fire ass comment.
Thanks for commenting.
Every
week at 420.
Every week at 420. Pull up to the
every Thursday.
I think for the most part, a battle of I think Starks and Hobbs can win it off of Swerve and Keith, and the FTR be the first ones like, hey, no more waiting in line. And a battle of them two on a mic, a battle of them two, I think that eventually gets them the respect and gets them over. So I think that we can still get it, but different. I just can't have nobody skip them again, if that makes sense.
I hear you. I think that we want to keep them in the mix constantly. Yes. I wouldn't get away from getting them TV time in the tag division consistently, getting them some wins over, the Dark Order, getting them wins over,
how long do we care about them? How long do we care about them? And do we still,
we care about them as long as they're entertaining, and Starks and Hobbs will be entertaining on that mic. They can go and roast the Dark Order. They can go and roast Trent Beretta and his guys every week, and I'll fucking laugh, So I think that giving them those victories and then on the way to FTR, and then boom, they get the titles like down the line at All Out. Maybe I don't know, but right now FTR just feels like they deserve to have all the gold in the world right now. So let's see.
I would say this. I will make the point of this. FTR wrap up what they do with the Briscoes. Shout out to Death Before Dishonor. Yo, Death Before Dishonor.
Oh yes, we might have to watch that. Yo, we got Gresham and Lee Moriarty. We have FTR. I should have got an image for that shit. FTR and the Briscoes. It's gonna be lit. We might have to check in on Death Before Dishonor.
Yo, we talking about Bookie and Black. Yo, Gresham and Lee Moriarty. Blood. That joint gone bang.
Flat, for real.
Yo, we talked about the definition of a banger last week, so go check that out because that
banger is alert.
Yo, banger alert. Hold on.
Banger alert.
Banger alert. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we might have to tap in with ROH, man.
Yeah, for sure. And we
Samoa
got
Joe and
Jay Lethal. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So ROH got that. Hold on. What the homie said at me? He was like, I got that thing too, and I will clap. You know what I'm saying? That's what ROH said. I will
keep that thing on me.
You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, to wrap up Booking Black, yeah, I think you know what? I think we see Hit Row on AEW.
I wondered if they were going to come to
I
AEW, but
I
here's the
think
only reason why I think that they're not going to. If they've created their own thing with B Fab and uh Tootie Miles, I'm not sure if they changed their names, and the gentleman that
you talking
was
about
called
Adonis, brother. You trying to Adonis and AJ Francis?
Adonis. Yeah, I keep forgetting they've changed his name a couple of times now. So excuse me, but Adonis, B Fab, and
AJ
Top
Francis.
Dollar, AJ
Top
Francis.
dollar, top
you
dollar.
know, if they're doing their own thing, then they're doing their own thing to get over. And they don't have the skin in the game like Swerve does to get a contract in AEW
Well,
unless
I'm not
they're
saying this. I'm not okay. Hold on. I will say this. This nigga will give anybody a chance. Okay. Shout out to Tony for equal opportunity.
I think
He is the EEO king in wrestling right now. So
if
what I
they
am
do an angle in the future with Swerve
this is
fighting
what
for the
this is,
TNT championship and then Hit Row interferes,
no,
absolutely I would.
this is what this that's what I'm saying. To break them up, Hit Row helps Swerve, and that's how Francis and Keith Lee, and then once Keith Lee gets through the order, you got Keith Lee and Swerve. That can be a thing where he has to get to that nigga and how
I
to get
hear
the
you. I
nigga
hear
to
you.
do the thing. So
I
and I,
hear
and
you.
I
That could be
prove
ill.
and then by then they prove their worth, and then they can now be implemented into the tag team. Swerve can have gold, like they can do a thing after that. But I think that you have some street thugs come and help Swerve and beat down Keith Lee. Yo, can you imagine JR? Oh my god! Oh my god! The niggas had the fence! The niggas had the barricade!
Imagine JR saying the niggas up the fence, yo, on live TV. Oh, it's a wrap. I would freaking die, yo. That would be classic, dog. It would be better than Bookie T saying nigga. I swear to God.
What if they didn't smarten JR up, brother? Like they didn't do that security
My
guard
God
with Brett
Almighty, the niggas up the fence. Can you believe it? It's like,
somebody get those niggas for messing up this match.
yeah, we are terrible, bro.
yo,
Oh my
we
God.
went from
Yeah.
talking about elevating black women after talking about Vince cheating on Linda, after talking about Chris Benoit, into saying
Listen,
JR
man,
is getting a
we're
horrible person.
multifaceted, man. You gotta laugh at it. You gotta laugh at we're crying shit. It's just crazy.
Man, nah, but
Um,
dead ass, bro. Yo, dead ass. They gotta jump the fence in like ski mask and shit like that, and I gotta see JR fly off the handle. Nah, I gotta see it. Now, listen, if y'all really do listen to us, don't smarten JR up, please. Like, don't smarten JR up,
we
please.
like
Just
the ignorant
right,
JR. We love that
right.
nigga. Yeah,
So I
we
love
love
old, ignorant, coming from skin cancer
calling
radiation
Claudio
JR.
Cesaro,
Bro,
saying the wrong moves, calling out old WWE wrestlers' names that have
yo,
nothing to do with AEW. I
the
love it.
thing about it is, I do want to give love to Jet. The nigga be coming from cancer treatment, bro.
Yeah,
Shout out to
yeah.
Jet.
Shout out to Jim Ross,
The
and
dog,
definitely.
he got that dog
Yeah,
in him, brother.
he does, and he's a
He
fighter,
got that
man. Just
dog in
so
him.
shout out to Jim Ross. He's been through a lot, so and with his wife's
He
passing and
has.
all,
So if he say
he's a
nigga on
fighter.
TV, I might give him a pass.
I
Let's
will
just.
give him a fast. I'm gonna be honest. I will because he's Jim Ross. He's not.
And if
He
said
ain't
that
Hulk.
funny, if he said that funny, nigga, he definitely getting the pass, bro. If he say, "Oh my god, the niggas have to barricade,"
Oh,
somebody stop those niggas.
yo, crazy.
Oh man.
Man.
Okay. Off of AEW. I mean, not off AEW. Off of Booking Black, I should say. Shout out to Swerve and Keith Lee. Yeah, we talking about breaking y'all niggas up, but for right now, shout out to y'all.
Shout out to you guys. Congratulations. Honestly.
Oh man. Woo. Yo, what about Thunderstorm, man? How you like that? What's going on with that? Is Tony Storm going to turn heel or not? What's happening?
I know. Thunderstorm doesn't make. I'm telling you, the whole week in wrestling was so confusing to me. I didn't like what Thunderstorm. Where the fuck is this coming from? They just had a match. I told you Thunder Rosa was gonna win. You want to say Toni Storm was going to win, and she
I needed
lost.
Toni Storm to win, man.
So now Toni Storm's just palling around with the girl, and I'm like, what?
Like, do you not win the title or not? Like, what's happening?
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that when it comes to the women's division in AEW, it has taken a little bit of a stagnation and a little bit of a pause on the intrigue. Not because due to Thunder Rosa, I just think that the choices they've made with her competitors and how they showcased her hasn't given her that heat. Now I think she's a great champion. I think she can talk. I think she's great, how she presents herself and everything. But she needs somebody to go against that has that, she needs somebody that's equal, and Toni Storm would be that if it wasn't two baby faces. And now she's palling around with her, so maybe she does have to turn heel. But we just saw Anna Jay come back. She had a match, and she lost to Serena Deeb. And after the match, Taya Conti was like, "Listen, like you gotta get control your own career and switch things up." Now Anna Jay has gotten a lot better in the ring. She looks beautiful. She might be somebody if she can switch that gear to get that it factor. I think she has the ability to, if she were to just talk her shit, if she were to just really talk her shit, she can really take it to the next level and be that person, a good heel. But you can't do a heel turn with Toni Storm and Anna Jay at the same time. You need one or the other. And if Tony's that person, keep Anna Jay as a babyface, or maybe Taya Conti, because she's already has that heat. So she needs somebody, Thunder Rosa needs somebody. And we'll see how that goes. But right now, everything is mid. Like everything is mid. Everything right now is mid. I can't really say much about AEW. I know that Eddie Kingston got a barbed wire shark cage match with Chris Jericho next week.
Wire shark cage.
Not sure what that is, but we'll see how it turns out on next week's Fyter Fest. And we'll see. That's all I can say. I mean, I don't know.
Say nothing else, brother.
I can't say anything else other than Pac. All right, so we had our whole thing about the All Elite, All Atlantic Championship, and how we were like confused as to why they brought this championship. It had no purpose, Yes. But it was just challenged abroad at Rev Pro Wrestling, and he successfully retained his title. I believe that the All Atlantic Championship, being a title that is defended in other companies and other places across the globe, gives it that purpose. And Tony Khan has said that now he's intentionally going to sign off on these wrestlers who have the championship to wrestle other places, and that they may or may not lose the title across the globe. It truly gives this title a purpose and a place in wrestling. And I wish they kind of did this in NXT or NXT UK, because that makes sense. But this is something we haven't seen in wrestling, which I think is now creative. A title that I thought was putting a little bit too much titles in AEW before, I'm now supportive of. And I know that Pac is going to be a great person to hold this championship going forward, because he's going to compete with all types of people all over the world and really elevate their game. He has a title match coming up in Dublin against
give me 1 second. I think you.
It's against
LJ
Cleary, and this match was supposed to happen, I think, 2 years ago. And the guy would turn 21, and on the day that it happened, the match was canceled. He didn't know why, but now he says that he's 10 times better than he was that day, and he's going to be 10 times more the competitor, and he wants to be the best in the world. I don't know who LJ Cleary is, but he gets what I mean is that he gets a showcasing in this match against one of the best in the world in what he does, and that's Pac. I think Pac obviously is going to take him to another level, and obviously we're talking about him, so we are now exposed to him. So we'll see what happens. And I see that they're putting on clips, and even with Thunder Rosa, she had a match elsewhere as well, and they put the clips of what the match was on their show in AEW. AEW makes me feel like this is literally a multiverse of wrestling sometimes when I'm watching it, and I appreciate that. I know a lot of people might look at it as this is WWE light, and I can get it. I get it. But for a pro wrestling fan who is a little bit in tune with what's going on in the industry outside of WWE and outside of AEW, they give a little fanfare to those people, which I appreciate.
I think for I
Fan
would
service, I agree.
I would like to say though with that though, um, because you defended abroad doesn't make it special. It matters who you're defending it against that makes it special, right? So when we talk about Defy, right, the Internet Championship, at one point in time it was Ricochet, it was Will Ospreay, it was Kirby, it was Cody Rhodes, right? It was a slew of Rey Mysterio. During, I think it was the influx of time where wrestling was at its renaissance, right? When wrestling was at its renaissance, we were seeing something that was kind of like this. But for a major company to do this, I think it's special, right? I do think it's special. I think wrestling a guy like LJ Cleary doesn't necessarily make the belt special. It makes LJ Cleary special, right? And if you're going to highlight the championship, you have to have a stronger B side for the champion.
Well, you also have to have a strong match, but obviously LJ Cleary has been doing something out there in Ireland. He thinks he's the best wrestler in Ireland. He's the top, in the industry.
So does Finn Balor, so does Sheamus, so does JD.
They're not in Ireland right now, though. They're not in the Indies putting that hard work. They're in WWE. So this gives the All Atlantic Championship a place to go to and say, hey, who's the best in Japan? Who's the best in the UK? Who's the best in Germany? Who's the best in Ireland? Who's the best in Mexico? Then like come see me. I'm the champion here. And I think that if you look at it from that angle, it gives the title some purpose. Now, granted, I hear what you're saying with it is only as good as its B side, but we are going to have matches that we might be presented to somebody who's just as strong as a B side that we didn't know. This might be a great match. We don't know LJ.
Yeah, I'm okay. So if the Intercontinental Championship was literally intercontinental, that does matter like the All Atlantic Championship. I do give you that. But if Walter is going to wrestle LJ Cleary with the Intercontinental Championship, does that make either of Cleary, Walter, or the championship matter anymore? Because again, you said the all we know is the promotion of this match from what? Twitter, Instagram, AEW put it out there. Like, did they hype up who LJ Cleary is? Did he send a package that Pac do a post about him being a young up and come? Like, this is just a match happening that we have to go find.
It's showing love to other promotions. Honestly, it is showing love to other promotions from a TV show that is on TV, and that Pac is going over there and doing it. So, in that sense, I see what you mean. Like, yeah, there's no big name that you can say, you know what, but that's right now. This is only the second defense. So in the future, I believe that we can get like somebody from maybe if it was Alberto Del Rio and AAA and it was versus Pac, would you be more interested in something like that? Like,
I think because do you think LJ Cleary is going to take the title off of fucking Pac and then come to AEW and be his champion?
That's the thing about this. I think that we don't know. I think that I'm gonna bet on Pac because I know Pac, but I do think that if he does lose this match and LJ comes to AEW, you will then have to see what LJ Cleary is and give you a new viewer access to a new wrestler that you didn't know. I do think that Pac will lose this title, not on AEW TV, one day.
But what I'm
not saying it's gonna be with him though.
But what I'm telling you is, that's what I'm.
What if he lost to Kota Ibushi at some other show?
But proving my point might be the parentheses of the show, because that's what I mean. Like I think the challenging abroad thing I think is good, but it's only as good as the match. And I guess I know what you're saying. We don't know how good the match is until we see the match. So I can understand that. But what I'm telling you is that niggas in Dublin is buying that to see that match.
Yeah. And I get you. I hear what you're saying, but I think my point is that the title now has purpose. My title is that the title now makes sense because it didn't make sense before. Now I got to be honest. It makes sense now. So let's say I do get a Kota Ibushi versus Pac. I'm like, yo, this could go either way. And I'm saying that, and mind you, LJ Cleary is not the best person to make this point. But I'm saying now going forward, this title has a purpose now. Going forward, this title has intrigue now, like on AEW. Whereas before, I was like, this is just another mid card title. It didn't mean nothing to me. Now I'm like, oh, let's see where they go with this. Because if you give me a Naito versus Pac, and like all of a sudden Naito's on AEW and defends it, it'd be crazy to see that. I would love it.
I think that's what mainly what I was asking is like, do you take the risk of having one of your performers with your championship have a match with somebody you're not locked in a forbidden door relationship with? Because hey, what if my guy gets injured mid-match? What if we gotta call an audible and your guy has to go over? And I feel comfortable enough knowing that LJ Cleary is coming to AEW. I don't need Pac motherfucking hurting his knee in a match against LJ Cleary.
If Pac hurts his knee in a match with LJ Cleary,
nigga.
If Pac hurts his knee in a match with LJ Cleary, that match is is gonna stop, or that match is Pac's gonna crawl himself over and put him in some kind of submission for him to tap out real quick. He'll tell the ref, and he's still keeping that title. And they'll probably do like an interim all Atlantic championship.
I think what my point would be, I think that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, I know
if the plan is, what I mean.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like, okay, like you say, having a match with Naito, but that was just my case. Like, have the match with somebody or a promotion that you have a working relationship with, just in case, like, hey, there is some intrigue into if he's going to have the niggas in Dublin is going to see their guy wrestle Pac to have a good performance, not to win the title, right? And that doesn't add intrigue into the title.
I hear you, and you got a valid point with
Dublin thinks that their guy is beating that guy.
And
nobody.
You got a valid point with that. I can't front. That makes sense. I hear what you're saying, but also I'm saying the title now going forward. I don't think Pac losing it to LJ Cleary, guys. I don't think that's happening. But I think that him defending it in different places. After me shitting on the tournament, even though the tournament was great, like the matches were good, but the actual title and AEW having so many championships. All right, send this nigga elsewhere in the fight. Like that's cool to me. I think that's cool to me.
Also, you don't fight the same niggas too.
Exactly. Yeah, you have so many opportunities. If you put that title on Malachi Black, or you put it on Miro, you put it on anybody that's willing to travel. Going forward, I see what they were doing now.
Cesaro and Switzerland would be fire.
Word up, Cesaro and Switzerland. There's so many guys that can really. Like, let's say if Finn leaves WWE, I don't know. Let's say if Walter leaves one day, it's a perfect championship for them to hold if they want to go back home and wrestle. If they want to, and I think this is an opportunity for a lot of people to, take that title and, do something special with it with their people back home.
Again, this doesn't necessarily do nothing that other independent world championships do.
It's just on TV, yeah.
Exactly, because
it's just on TV.
Trisha Dora goes around and lugs her shit, her motherfucker. She is the Pan-African Diaspora champion. She travels to wrestle. It ain't just a home where she wrestles. She represents a home that travels as a world champion. So
absolutely,
I think this goes back and harkens to the days where Ricky and the boys used to hit the towns and wrestle as a world champion and go around the world and wrestle. Antonio Ioki, or I'm saying his name right or something like that. So it harkens back that day. So shout out to Pac, shout out to Tony Khan, doing really great. Everything that's new is old, my nigga.
It is, man. We all go in cycles, man. For real, everything's wrestling.
Go ahead. What you
got? You want to talk about business and logic real quick?
What you got?
Speaking of independents, doing things and making deals, AEW, no, not AEW, MLW. MLW just had signed a couple of deals. A couple of weeks ago, they signed an action figure deal, which shocked me because I didn't know people knew AEW, MLW enough to have action figures for it, but apparently they do. And then they also have this Hot Topic deal that's coming out where they're going to sell merchandise at Hot Topic. So salutes and cheers to MLW. I wanted to give them a little shout out this week for making some business deals, making some business moves.
I was trying to get their joint up, but it came up as a web picture when I downloaded it. So shout out to shout out to MLW, the former home of your boy, your boy. Yo, I would like to say one time for Court Bauer though, he is a persistent motherfucker. You know what I'm
Gotta
saying?
respect that.
You gotta respect the persistent nigga. You know what I'm saying? And his intentions with pro wrestling and his execution of pro wrestling, they don't always mirror because niggas don't really have the ability to execute the way that their intentions are. But I will say he has done really well with what he has. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If you're making, deals for TV contracts and deals for action figures and deals for merchandise at Hot Topic, and finding a way since when you tweeted him, like think about that years ago, and building it till now, that means that he had something, he believed in it, he's pursued it, and he's making money, and he's making finding a way regardless of all the changing of the guard in MLW.
And what's crazy about that? Let's be honest too. What's crazy about that is every name that we talked about over the past kind of like 4 or 5 years that is like become something of new from the independent scene ran through MLW at some point. And I was there to see it. The return of MLW was Ricochet and Swerve, I believe, on Ricochet's final, goodbye independent match before he went into the PC, and then that catapulted Swerve, right? Because Swerve was doing this thing out in Seattle and and shit like that. He was kill shot and Lucha, and then that was the catalyst of MLW saying, "Hey, we can build around this guy." You know what I'm saying? And you look at MJF, you look at Tom Lawler, you look at Penta and Phoenix, you look at Riddle, you look at that was Orlando was the hub to come through, get you a check, get you a couple days in the sun, and get your ass showcased. MLW was a showcase.
MJF, Sammy Guevara,
Bruh.
Darby
Allin.
Darby Allin.
Jimmy, you know what I'm saying? Who else I
Yuta.
You Willer Ute, bro.
Lee Moriarty, I think he was there for a little bit.
That nigga Yuta used to travel from Philly doing his degree, do classes, wrap up, fly in, do his matches. Jason Cade was there, and niggas was really putting in those hours to really be where they're at right now. Like, and again, we're talking about the ROH Pure Wrestling Champion and Willa Yuta. We're talking about Darby Allin, one of the biggest baby faces. MJF, one of the biggest guys in the company. Riddle,
and people who are not on big TV right now. Shout out to our guy Key. Shout out to Selena De La Renta. I think those guys had an act that helped bridge the gap for a while with their angle over there. I know that Conan came in and whatnot, but with his guys too. But yeah, I think MLW deserves a lot of credit for the past 4 or 5 years that they've been doing that work in that company. So to get to this point where they're having Hot Topic deals and action figures, salute.
Absolutely.
Salute.
Shout out to unblock me, please. I promise I won't fuck nothing up when I come there.
Nigga, he banned you, yo. He banned you from the arena. I still don't get why he banned you. I still be honest.
I made it. It was
a veiled threat.
It was a suit. He thought it was a pseudo threat. So I mean, when we talk about communication, it's on the receiver, right?
It's on both. I keep telling you, it's on both, man. You gotta be able to talk right.
What wasn't a threat as a threat, okay? You know what I mean? He took precaution. I don't hold him. You don't know what I can do. They train me to one shot, one kill, nigga. I still got that dog in me. You dig? So
listen, you're former Marine, It's like this kid has been, a great hand, but he smokes weed before the shows, so I don't know who he hangs with. I have no idea. Keep him far away from the arena. You are not allowed it.
This nigga told me he had cops and pictures of me.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah, you're infamous, my guy. The Most High, man.
Yo, I really didn't want to live out that name, infamous, but shout out to Prodigy and Havoc, nigga. I just gotta live on. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, you gotta accept who you are. You gotta accept who you are, man. For real, embrace it. We're the underground for a reason, and we gotta accept it.
You dig? What else we got on the joint? I know we said we was gonna freestyle the show.
We had nothing on the joint.
We didn't have.
Because this week, listen, it was a lot of confusing fucking shit to me. You got Cora Jade turning on her tag team partner who just won the tag team titles. You have Dolph Ziggler on my screen again out of fucking blue. Why the fuck is Dolph Ziggler on my screen? He hasn't been relevant since 2012. I don't know what the hell's going on right now. You got, a lot of choices being made this week where I'm like, that's interesting. You got a freaking fucking special guest referee match for the Usos and Street Profits. Really? That's what you're going to choose? So at this point, I'm confused.
We'll just catch, we can probably catch y'all niggas on Sunday, probably catch y'all niggas next week, because realistically, we said we didn't want to be the podcast to come on here and bitch and complain. And
I'm gonna bitch and complain. I'm gonna be honest. I don't give a fuck. When it comes to what we talked about last week and gave him props, because we're gonna give him props too. We gave him props. Oh, yo, Austin Theory, Bobby Lashley is gonna slap again at WrestleMania. Oh, Riddle, Seth Rollins. Oh, it's gonna slap at SummerSlam. Yeah, it's gonna slap at SummerSlam. And what do? They add Dolph Ziggler. Why? Like why? We just gave him props for these two angles, and they give the last moment of the night to a random dude in Dolph Ziggler who hasn't been relevant since 2012, which makes no fucking sense with the matches they got lined up for SummerSlam. I'm just gonna be honest; it don't make no sense.
I would say this. I'm not defending it, but we literally just said that the Money in the Bank person has to have something to hold him, and to. You think it's smart to have Theory lose twice to Bobby?
So wait a minute. Then why would they make the match? They already booked it.
Because you can always add another nigga in it or take the match away. Yes, a Theory and Bobby match in theory made sense as a rematch. I didn't really want to do that, but I really didn't. But if they wanted to, like I said, not involve Rollins and Riddle into the match with Reigns to just stretch something out a little bit longer, I don't mind them taking away Theory and Bobby for me and give me Theory and Dolph and give me Bobby and somebody else if that's the way they're going. So
we'll see how it plays out.
I would say
is this doesn't make sense. I'm gonna be honest with you. You can give me Theory and Dolph, but the way you got there made no sense. So let's keep it real. They made a mistake if they're doing it that way by booking this match with Bobby in the first place, and they got to own up to that. So I'm not talking shit. It's just realistic talk. They made a mistake if they're bringing Dolph Ziggler at the end of the night to have the closing angle of the night when the match has nothing to do with him. Zero. Zero.
I will say this. What do you do with Theory and Bobby for 2 weeks until their match?
I mean, obviously that's their job to figure out. I know if you give me a minute or 30 minutes like to figure it out, I'll figure it out right now. Write it down. All right, week 1, week 2, week 3. All right, so we're there. Like week to week, they did the pose down. They can have more promos. They can have more angles. They can have more matches. Whatever you want to say to get Theory to get the edge over Bobby Lashley going into the match. Like, hey, listen.
Okay, go ahead.
He has the briefcase for a reason. I get it. He don't need to win the championship right away, but him losing with the briefcase is not going to take nothing from him to Bobby Lashley. Obviously, again, it's not. So we'll see if they put Dolph in the match as well, Mr. Triple Threat. Fine, have at it. But it doesn't make no sense to me, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't want to shit on the product unless there's a reason to shit on the product. Like. And this is not just me being a market, like, oh, I don't want to see this. This is like real talk. If you're booking matches, keep the storyline congruent. And I'm not necessarily personally interested in seeing Dolph Ziggler on my screen right now. I'm not. After what you just gave me with Austin Theory and Bobby Lashley, I'm like, yo, I gave y'all mad props last week, dog. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
but
all right.
I know, but Chidi, I mean, they already did the post down leading up to the match. They already had animosity. Bobby already is one of the biggest baby faces. Like he got his win. Like literally, like they did the rematch.
Austin Theory now needs an up on Bobby Lashley.
But
He needs to.
the
Maybe
only
it's an injury angle. Maybe it's a something to make it seem like, all right, I got this guy in it right where I want him, and I'm getting my title back. And then on top of that, I'm gonna cash in on Brock or Roman at the end of the night and take that title too. He needs.
you're talking about something that congruent and makes sense. You will really buy into Austin Theory injuring the shoulder, Bobby Lashley, him out for 2 weeks or some shit like that, and then Theory having a thought that he's going to be United States champion and cashing in like he's some
I
Seth
mean,
Rollins.
I would buy in him, jumping him and using the briefcase to injure his ankle or stomping his leg in the briefcase or something to say like this is and then attacking him that way. And then you have Bobby for a week with limping around saying that I know I'm injured, but yeah, I'm gonna come in and defend and be a defending champion, and I'm gonna fight with my fractured ankle or whatever it may be. And that's how you can do it. He can tape it up, he can untape it, or even do fractured rib angle. I don't know, whatever you want to do. That's what I would have done, getting us. And it's not that hard to come up with something to stretch it for 2 weeks. Not that we don't got like a month to SummerSlam. We got like
they didn't think Dolph would get this either. It was like, hey, we can give Austin Theory and Dolph 2 matches. They can have a couple bangers on Raw, and we can get the Bobby. And they didn't think that what they do was so egregious, like you were saying. They was giving.
Then they should just give him the match. I will say that. Then they should just give Dolph the match next week. I didn't need to see him this week at all. They could have just had an angle backstage, and like, hey, oh, you want to have a match? All right, boom, boom, let's have a match, boom, and then have a match. I don't need to see Dolph get the last shot of the night as if he's like the major threat for anything at all.
What if Dolph and Theory have matches for the Money in the Bank briefcase? Would that matter?
Yeah. I would. You gotta understand something. I don't mind the match per se, but when they did it, why they're doing it right now makes no sense to me. If this was after SummerSlam, cool. If this was before they announced the Bobby match, cool. It's not like, and that's what I mean. The congruence. You talk about convoluted storytelling. This is convoluted storytelling to me. You tell the story of Bobby and Austin Theory right now. It has nothing to do with Dolph Ziggler. Tell the story of Seth and Matt Riddle. Has nothing to do with Dolph Ziggler. Why is he getting the shine? Seth could have done something with Riddle to end the night. Bobby or Austin Theory could have injured Bobby Lashley at the end of the night. It could have been something that made me like, okay, they're building towards something next week. This took me completely out, blew my high entirely. I'm like, fuck this, I'm going to sleep. I was pissed. I'm not going to. It's like,
and
what the fuck is this?
Although you don't care and you're not going to go back to that, for that, you do want to see a resolution for that.
And no, I don't like Dolph Ziggler at all. I don't care. I'd rather than to completely ignore that this happened, and I'll be happy. You know what? Come on Raw next week. Just act like this never happened. Just go back to the Bobby Austin Theory thing, and I'm gonna be fine. I'll act like it doesn't happen. Let's move past this. We got you guys. We got you. I'll accept it.
My man, so with that being said, yeah, man, it wasn't really a lot. I do want to say that the NXT thing, it's just a lot of
convoluted storytelling.
I mean, I do think it's like it's like when you get a new boss, but your old boss still there, so the transition is not really. You know what I'm saying? Like NXT has had a lot of like moving pieces that kind of influence what it is that we see on a week-to-week basis.
So I want to give a big shout out to those to Carmelo and Trek Williams who keep that show entertaining. I want to give a shout out to them who are putting in work every single week. Obviously, our boy Wesley always performs well. I miss Io Shirai dearly. I wish he was back. There's certain people on that show that I know are putting in hard work. I think Braun Breaker is doing the best he can with the championship, with whoever they're putting him in front of. But yeah, it's just not hitting right now as
Shout
a
out to
whole.
Dolph, former NXT champion.
Dolph ruined NXT too. Like so, like it's just like I'm gonna be honest. This guy, I don't mean to hate on the guy, but he's not what people think he is.
Dolph's not that guy.
He's not that guy. He's not that guy. No,
All right, we'll
he's
say
not.
for Patreon. We'll say
All right, we'll save it for
we'll
Patreon.
say,
Bet.
we'll say that unfiltered Dolph take.
Is it?
I mean, Dolph is the guy. Yeah, I mean, as much as we talk about, as much as we talk about Miz as being the guy, I think Dolph, you know what I'm saying? Like Dolph and Miz, same guy.
Miz is better than Dolph. Way better. And I know it sounds crazy to some people, but he is.
Okay.
As an entertainer, as a guy who's convincing in his angles, and he's had way more memorable moments in the past 10 years. Yeah, I think Miz is that dude.
Way more memorable? Okay.
When's the last time Dolph has had like something that you're like, you know what? That was a memorable moment. It was when he won the championship in 2012 or Money in the Bank.
Or the Intercontinental matches that he had with aforementioned The Miz. Like those so
and forget it. Me make my point right there because that's the only way you can put it. That's the only time.
What I mean, the tag team with him and Dolph. I'm sorry, the tag team with him and Drew. I mean, what that like?
It was trash. It wasn't good.
They tried to do we didn't give it a chance. We did again because he's not that guy. So we couldn't have a Shawn and Diesel thing because we just rejected it. Man,
no, don't blame us, man. I'm being honest with you. Don't blame us. It wasn't good. The reason why it didn't work is because they didn't make it work. Dolph didn't make it work. These guys were a tag team. We were waiting for them to break up since day one because we knew that what we had in Drew. Drew didn't need Dolph. He didn't need Dolph to come back to introduce him back to the WWE. He didn't need him.
But this is what I'm saying though. Dolph is always needed. Shinsuke didn't need Dolph when he came up. Guess what they threw to him? Dolph. You know what I'm saying? Who else didn't like? Dolph is needed is what I'm trying to do.
You know what? We gotta table this for the Patreon. We're gonna be on Patreon this week Sunday. $5 sign up. You guys want to hear the Dolph takes and was Dolph really needed for any of these niggas? Which is obviously no. But we'll go ahead and end there.
Obviously no. Shit. Dolph is needed for shit. Listen, Shinsuke need a win right now. Send Dolph ass out there, nigga. Guarantee that, nigga. Shit. Austin just shined up real nice with Dolph. Guarantee.
Give me Shinsuke and Sammy like a million times before I get a Shinsuke Dolph match. I don't want to kill the guy too much because I'm gonna seem like I'm hating, but nigga, I hate Dolph. I can't.
Okay, no. That is it. I'm not gonna seem like I'm hating, but I hate that nigga is exactly how we gonna end the podcast. It's exactly how.
Boy, I gotta end it like this. All is love and everything is wrestling. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, man. Thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. Y'all know what it is. Everything is wrestling. Reasonable Wrestling. EIWshop.com. Make sure y'all pick up whatever's on the shop, nigga. Whatever we put out there.
Papers. We about to put some stickers up in there. So
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We might have a TV MA of the website. You dig?
It's definitely gonna be MA on the Patreon. So sign up, $5, guys.
Come on, man.
Tune in.
Tap in, man. Thank y'all again. This is one of our shortest podcasts, so it should be an easy listen to. Y'all already know what it is. Everything is wrestling. Peace out.
Mid.